Because if we spend 5 minutes per transition, and I don't see you every day, but I will see you roughly 100 days a year. That is 500 minutes divided by 60 is a little less than 10 hours. I will be wasting almost 10 hours because you're not acting like 7th graders, getting your notebooks out, doing stuff. I have goals. I want all of you to get 5s, and I do not want to start taking stuff out because I didn't get to it. Okay, because at the end of the year, I have to make a tough decision. Who's ready for algebra, and who's going to be in Math 8? Advanced. I'm not going to put you in algebra if you aren't ready for it. Okay. And I need every hour I can get to do that. Doesn't seem like a lot of time, 3 or 4 or 5 minutes here, but it is. All right, the rule. A negative multiplied or divided by a negative equals a positive. The other rule is a negative multiplied or divided by a positive equals a negative. The good news is multiplying and dividing is easier to understand than adding and especially subtracting. So we've already done the hardest thing first, which was subtracting. Now I'm curious, what exactly is 500 divided by 60?
Like 8.5. You're free. Like 8.5.
8.3. You're right. So that means that would be 8 hours and 20 minutes exactly. It would be 0.3 repeating. So a third of an hour is 20 minutes.
I thought that was your phone.
Where's yours? Keep them out. Did you write this all down? What are you waiting for? You gotta go to a new page. Did you already write? Keep going. You got it? Jenna, keep that out so you can read it if I move on. We might have to cut out the Kahoot game for you. Alright, so here's a diagram. If the signs are the same, so if you see both positive, you're multiplying or dividing, that will equal a positive. And vice versa. If they are both negative, that will also equal a positive. If they are different, yes. Yeah. If they are different, you have a positive and a negative, multiplied or divided, that will give you a negative. And then flip it around. Even if it is negative and a positive, it will still give you negative. You don't have to write this up here. I was actually going to
For
use
the
this.
same.
Yes, there's a saying that I've used for this, and it's when good things happen to good people, that's good. It's positive. When bad things happen to bad people, that's also good. That guy was a bad guy. He went to jail. Bad thing happened to a bad guy. Went to jail. That's good. That's what they're built for. Vice versa. When good things happen to bad people, that's bad. This guy that was bad just won the lottery. That's not good. He doesn't deserve the money. Who knows what he's going to do with it? That's scary. When bad things happen to good people, oh, that's a good person. I wish their dog was still healthy. That's bad. Well, sometimes I don't know what I'll surprise myself. Are we good? Good. Alright, you don't have to write this down, you just have to watch me. I'm going to, okay. So we know, I'm going to try to explain to you why a positive times a negative equals a negative, because it is very hard to very hard to explain. I'm going to try to. So in mathematics, we want to be consistent, right? I want to say in 4th or 5th grade, you guys learned something called order of operations. If this problem down here was done with order of operations, what would you do first in that problem, Eric?
You would do first 3 plus -3.
Which gives you? So then you have 0 times 5. What's 0 times 5?
0.
0. So we know whatever is in here is 0. Now, to be consistent in mathematics, we also have a property that's on the back called the distributive property. It's saying you can multiply the first and second term by what's outside, and it should work too.
Oh, yeah.
So 5 times 3 plus, and then you got to do 5 times -3. So when we do it this way, 5 times 3 is 15, I heard you say, plus, now, whatever this is has to give us 0, correct? Because we just said it's going to be 0. What can you add to 15 to equal 0? Emma? -15. So that means if we're consistent in our mathematics, that a positive times a negative is going to equal a -15.
What if it's a negative times a positive?
Same idea.
Alright.
It depends on how I write it. Now,
That's not annoying.
now, even harder than that is a negative times a negative equals a positive. Look, what is that? What is that machine?
I think it's like a mini chip.
I don't think so. Because I don't think they're tearing. This should be done tearing stuff apart. Well, other than whatever they're doing on that side of the building. I don't know. They are on the clock. Like, this building needs to get done like November, like this phase. So they have what, a month and a half? Because we're halfway through September. So you have September and October. They got about 7 weeks to stay on track. We don't want them to fall behind the blue line. Yes.
This school is pretty much the world's largest changing maze.
Yes, it will change. Doors. And the good news for you guys is on days where they do change these walls out and teachers start moving stuff from room to room, you don't have school that day. So that will be a day where you don't have school. Yeah. And we do not know when it is.
Fall
Yeah.
behind.
Are they building a whole other building by here?
An entire way
This-
in the middle.
This area that's open right now is going to be a new
I
section.
think that should be done by November.
Should be outdoor.
No, that is not going to be done.
No, like outdoor section.
That should be done.
So that's going to be done like phase 3. It's going to be. Just look at it. I mean, they haven't even.
Yeah, I know. That's what
They started pouring some cement down, but Owen.
What are they gonna do with that space?
Well, that's a little bitter for me because when Mr. Moore was the principal,
Pouring cement in holes.
he said all those new rooms are going to be the math wing. So he's going to put all the math teachers in this new addition over here. Me, Mr. Zemnick, what would have been Mr. Harvey or Miss Wall, I don't know. Anyway, we were going to put all these teachers over there. Mr. Moore's not here no more. Now they're going to use that space for those Polaris teachers, like that guy that teaches 1 or 2 over, the short guy. He's gonna be.
Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown, oh my god.
I don't know what his name is.
No, that's his name.
Is he really tan?
The project lead the way.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that's Mr. Brown.
Hilarious.
Design and modeling.
Design and modeling. Emma, thank you for communication.
So if we don't have this done on track, then does that mean that all construction is going to be delayed?
They can't start the next phase to finish the first phase. Like, yeah. So, yeah. Sometimes.
Because they can get like a later phase, like caught up really fast.
Yeah.
I feel like phase 2 is gonna get delayed because of winter.
No.
Something
that
tells
shouldn't.
me air conditioning is not gonna.
When they put these bids in, it's their job as a company to make sure they can do what they say they can do in a timely fashion. And if they didn't, they wouldn't have business, and they would also get sued.
Why?
Because you cost the school district money and resources by extending this. Like it's. All right, let's continue. So I said so we agree. Did I do a decent explanation of trying to explain why positive times a negative is negative? All right. So even harder to explain is a negative times a negative. You know, when bad things happen to bad people, that's good, but that doesn't really explain why the negative times a negative is positive. But what I can do is say, if we were doing the order of operations thing again, what would we get inside these parentheses? Well, Eric said it was 0. Eric, is it still 0? 6 plus negative 6? It is. It still is 0. And so we have 0 times negative 2. Well, anything times 0, we learned is still 0. So, using this distributive property again, the first thing I have is negative 2 times 6, which we just did the rule for. Positive times negative, we now know that this is going to be negative 12. Plus, now we have negative 2 times negative 6. We don't know what this is, but we do know, according to this, it has to equal 0. So what number added to 12 is going to equal 0? Emma?
Positive 12 because negative 10.
Yes. So we know this has to be positive 12. And what's giving us positive 12? The negative times the negative. Alright. We're going to come back and do notes, but get out your computers for a quick Kahoot game.
Wait, no, Mr. Rusty, you got it wrong. It should be the SDL.
Because they changed it to self-directed learning time.
Okay, whatever. That's...
And it's down here.
Game over. Check. I always
Jack
chose
chose
to be
They
didn't walk through. PLP. Oh my god, we're doing a Kahoot on the PLP?
Yeah.
I see that Summit's got rates now.
No, I made this.
What is, I see that Summit has gotten to you now.
Yes.
He's now been.
We have to watch the video you just uploaded.
At
No.
10:10, you uploaded the video.
And I don't understand. I thought the video would be longer than 15 minutes.
See, that just shows that I subscribed.
I'm going to find I'm getting out my mouse. Oh, I can my mouse on my head.
Why is there so many people?
Oh wait, you don't have to use your real name.
I don't know. Do we have to use our real name?
I don't.
Yay! I know what I'm going to put.
I'm gonna teach you so we cannot use emojis.
Oh, we can't use emojis?
No, you could use.
That was last year. I can do like
Guys,
guys.
5, 7, 4, 8.
All right, we should have how many playing? We have 2,
I'm not
3,
playing
4, 5, 6,
Oh no.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Step 23. We're missing about 5. You have. I'm gonna start at 25 seconds, regardless of if you're ready or not.
I can't even find it.
Okay, so you're going to go back to the
Oh,
I'm letting him in. Okay, put the game in there. 9, 4, 7, 5, 7, 4, 8.
Hey, it's up here if you need to join.
5, 7, 4, 8. 5,
5, 7, 4, 8. Come on. No, it's 8. What are you doing? You put it in wrong. Oh my god, just let me put it in. Yeah, I need help.
Alright, we good?
No, we're not. He's putting. Just put in something. No, not yet.
I'm not waiting. I heard.
Okay, I think you've
This is not for grade. What is the minimum score for those of you that are in? If you still aren't in, it's written on the board. Minimum score to pass a power focus area. Is it 6, 7, 8, 9? Yes.
I'm 13.
I'm in second.
18. Is there anybody behind me?
Triggers me so much.
We're never gonna get through this
You can sit over here if you want to. Alright, so these conversations need to end. We have students in here that are new to this. The power focus areas are the middle ones. Okay, so you need an 8, 9, or 10 to have it be green and passed. Your score, your grade, I think it's a question, so I'm not going to say anything. Let's keep going. Are the additional power focus areas mandatory? That means additional, which are this bottom row, do you need to do them?
I'm in 14th place.
Alright, the conversation ends real quick. Additional are these bottom ones. Now, yours are not like this. You're going to have, I think, more than that. You are expected to do them in this class. I want you to learn as much 7th and 8th grade. But because I don't see you every day, is it realistic for me to teach 2 full grade standards in 1 year when I don't see you every day? No. So what I had to do was throw some of the stuff I want you to learn, like volume, from 8th grade down here. Yes, because those are stuff that are still going to be on tests that are important, like ACTs. I'm not going to be able to do activities and stuff that I want to with them, but I still want you to do them. It's going to be one of the things I look at when deciding, are you ready for the end of course exam next year?
Point behind two. One behind Emma and I'm one
I don't care about the score. Does a student need to complete the power focus areas in order?
No, dang it.
Yeah, I think I'm in front of Lacey now. I'm an idiot.
The answer is no. For example, in my regular math 7, we are learning this. I don't know why it's way down there. I thought it should have been over here. But whenever they do pass it, it's going to turn green, and then it's going to shift all the way over here and give them more cushion on their blue line.
Do we have that? So do you know how you have make a show look?
Yes.
Is that so last year integer operations was an additional and quite a few people passed it.
Yes. So what you're going to do is you're going to write out a form on a piece of paper. You're going to put integer operations, and you're going to put passed last year, and then I will look at the date and make sure that that is passed from last year. Because what happens is if it doesn't, if I don't see that paper in there and I count your folder and it's not, let's say you have 4 of them and I only have 3 papers, I'm gonna look for that missing one and I might not see it and I might invalidate it on accident. So just make sure. Better safe than sorry. You have it too, right? Integer operations from last year. Yeah, so make that applies to you. Fill out a form that says integer operations with your name on it and say passed last year. And then we'll get it. Next.
Oh, Addison. Go ahead.
Okay, does scoring higher on a power focus area improve your grade? For example, turning an 8 into a 10.
Dang it! Why is everything moving?
What do you mean?
No one on the right and yes one on the left.
Oh.
So I go to click where I know no was. But then I end up clicking yes.
Well, you gotta slow
I
down.
don't look. Looking is for noobs. I don't need a brain.
Just so you guys know, I bought some more erasers last night, so you won't have to use these beaver pelts or whatever this thing is.
We're still stuck on the screen.
The answer is no. It's almost like a driver's license. Where, let's say I passed my driver's license test by one question. I barely passed. Do I still get to drive?
Yeah.
Yes. Sarah got every question right. She got 100% of her driver's license test. Is she able to drive?
Yeah.
Yes. It doesn't matter. That's the only. Now here's the thing. If you get done with everything and you want to go back and try to be a perfectionist and get all 10s, that's fine. I'm just letting you know it's not going to improve your grade. I do not want to see a kid keep trying on something and, not progress on other concepts because they're trying to get a 9 to become a 10. Is that worth the time? No. So I'm just trying to make sure we're on the same
Wait,
page.
all of us are
Yes.
last year when I didn't understand.
Two, you made my computer fall asleep every time.
When I would tell her, like, I passed the grade, and she's like, okay, well, are you going to do it again so you can get a higher grade? I'm like, Mom, like, it doesn't change.
Yes. In fact, when Mrs. Wallace learned about this, she thought the same thing. She thought it like, because when we grew up, we thought, okay, you can get higher grades than 8, but I'm just making sure we know. That's one of the reasons I put this game together.
Wait.
Yeah.
I'm the unit math assessments.
All right, end of unit. These are almost called performance tasks from last year. They're called end of unit math assessments, are graded on a rubric, which make up what % of your grade?
You have 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right.
Not again. Yeah, does it show us like the? I don't know. Well, you know what you put. Computer answer.
All right. These top boxes, even though they say projects, there's actually no projects. It's math units. These right here make up 70% of your grade.
We're gonna go way back to the
I don't think people really want to get too many of those.
And they're going to be done as a class together, like an assessment. Last year they were a little different.
My computer automatically answers, so I didn't choose very long.
All right, this is just an interactive activity.
I'm waiting for me. How is that first?
All right, power focus areas along with additionals make up what % of your grade now?
Mr. Garcia, the answer to that should be 100.
So we just said these top ones are 70%. These two combine to make the other 30% of your grade. So I hear a lot of kids sweating these, but really it's doing well on what we're doing in class and getting your checkpoints done and doing well on the assessments. That's what matters most. End of unit assessments on paper. Alright, let's keep going.
Did you just cough my name? Really? Thanks, Sean.
Next question. What is the average score needed on your end of unit assessment to avoid earning incomplete? Is it a 2, 3, 4, 5? You can stand up, or you can move your head side to side.
Yeah,
Yeah,
No, in math has its own rubric.
yeah.
Math's rubric is different. Now, let's say there's a kid, let's just say his name is Tyler. Tyler did the first one, rational numbers, which is where we're starting out. Tyler earns a 2.5. On his thing, it's not going to say D, it's going to say incomplete because he does not have a 3. Now, Tyler decides he doesn't want to make corrections or he doesn't want to do what he needs to get it up. He's moving on. So now he goes to this one. And actually, I should have made this red because it's below. He goes to this one. What does he need to get on the next one if he made no corrections to the first one to change from an incomplete? Yes.
You need to make a 3.5.
Excellent. He would need a 3.5 because when you add these together, they would get 6. 6 divided by 2 would now be 3, and his incomplete would likely become an C average.
Nobody wants to be
Yes. If you want an A, you want to try to get 4.5 or a 5. B's are about 4. Let's keep going.
What question are we on?
This is question 8.
Oh my
What
god.
percent of your grade does the additional power focus areas make up?
I clicked the wrong one. I clicked 11 said
You guys need to slow down then.
I can always do everything. I don't know if I'm right. Why is it?
You know, I think what it is they want to say if you do you do perfect on everything, you can still get an A with no additionals. You have to be perfect. It's almost impossible. Alright, the answer is 9%. If you're wondering how these percents break down, it goes 70% up top, 21% in the middle, and 9%. Now, what makes these tricky? I'm going to try to explain this to you so you understand. If you do the first one, and it turns green, and the blue line, let's say the blue line's right here. If you have an 80% without the additional, if you do one of these, and let's say this is October 2nd, okay?
Whoa.
October 2nd's right here. You've done the first one. What percent is it going to add? Is it going to add all 9? Or is it going to add, well, let's say 2. Let's say 2%. What do you think the computer does? Yeah. You would think so. It doesn't. It assumes, based on how you're trending, that you will keep that up. It gives you the benefit of the doubt. So it will give you, if you're up the pace on your additional, it will add on that other 9% and bump your grade up to an 89. Now let's do the same thing. Let's say you have 80%, and let's move this blue line over to, let's say, here. Now you've done this one, but you haven't done this one. What do you think it's going to add to your grade now? Yeah. Well, if this is all 9%, it's thinking that you're going to do half of them. So instead of giving you 9%, it's going to give you half. It'll give you 4.5%. So now you went down to an 84.5%.
I don't think that would be an entire goal because none of the other ones. So you forgot rational numbers.
That's why I'm explaining it to you. I'm explaining to you. It's going to base off of where you're at with the blue line. So let's say all of a sudden you go and you do pass this one, right? Is it still going to give you 4.5? No. It's going to change it back to 9, and then move this back up to 89.
You just have to try to get on your
Yeah, but he has questions. The reason I'm doing this is for clarification. Is there any other questions before I move on? Do you need to have checkpoints completed in order for your performance stats to be graded? Yes or no? Does Kahoot have like 2 different songs, or is there 3?
Oh my god.
It's my favorite channel.
What are you doing? Mr. Garcia.
Yes. I will not put your grade in until all your checkpoints are done. That does not happen very often. I do make sense.
Sounds like fire.
You should show your work on paper, turn it into the tray when you guys pass a powerful material or additional.
What are you doing? I don't know. No. Just
I went on a Chinese auction. I paid like $3 for a couple of tickets, and I got this whole basket of stuff.
I'm
And
Jake.
I'm using the rest of the waters. All right. All right. When you pass an assessment, you know, if you're taking it in here, I'm gonna make sure that you're doing it on paper. If you do it with one of your other teachers, make sure you're doing it on paper. And then you turn it into the tray. There was a student this week that passed integer operations in regular math. She's like, oh, you passed? I go, I didn't see the work turned in. She was like, I have it. I'll go turn it in now. She turned in her notes. These are notes that she used to take it. Is this the same thing as turning in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8, 9, 10? No. So I have to go in and validate it. It's okay. It's the beginning of the year. She'll pass it anyway. It doesn't matter. That's what everybody else is. If you've seen how much work students put on it, to let a kid slide by without doing it is not fair. I want you to show work. It's math after all. Next. I should ask Mr. Garcia to review my assessment if I have not passed it twice. Yes or no?
No, why?
you're on 0. But James.
Guys, I can't click any seconds. Checking my Wait, why is there how many? 20 seconds. Wait, is this our what did you do?
Alright, the answer is
What did you think?
the answer is yes. If you don't pass it the first time, John, go back to your seat, please.
Okay.
If you don't pass it the first time with 3 pieces of evidence, the next time you need 4. You need 1 more.
You need one more.
If you don't pass it the second time, you need to see a teacher that feels confident with going over it. That will be me, or it could be a teacher that's good at math, like Miss Lawrence is good at math. No, Mrs. Cataldo now.
She said
Yeah, I remember.
She would be good. I think Miss Mooney might be good. Oh, you know, if you have her from mentoring, possibly. Emma.
So did it say that like, if you don't pass it the first time and you don't pass it the second time, you have to have your math teacher.
You take it in math class. They want you to take it in math class, but they also want a teacher to go over it with you. Yeah. And then let me know if the teacher did that. And like email me, CC that teacher too. All right. Let's move on. I need 4 pieces of notes to take a power focus theory the first time. Yes or no? Bless you.
29.
Graham, are you adding people to this?
No.
Joey, now I have to wait. Everybody's done, and I'm wasting time.
Close my mouth. Hold on. It's still checking my nickname right now.
All right, the answer is no. you only need 3 for the first time. The rubric used on the final assessment for a unit ranges from what? 0 through 5, 1 through 8, 1 through 10, 1 through 5. Since now I have to wait 30 seconds each question. When I should only have to wait 10. It's fine. I'll keep you guys for as long as I need to, even considering the lunch period. Alright. The answer is 1 through 5. Now, when I print out your rubric, the rubric's going to say, this is what you do to show me a 1. This is what you do to show me a 2, 3, 4, and 5. It will even tell you what questions give you the potential to show that evidence. Now, can you get zeros? Yes, you can. At the very end of the year, if there's a kid, usually this wouldn't happen in a class like this, but let's say a kid didn't do his checkpoints and I didn't grade his final product. And the time ran out. He's out. I'm not even going to give him a 1. I'm just going to give him a 0. I can't put a 0 if I want to. But you don't want to 0. Just by passing back checkpoints in here, I can tell that it's probably not going to be an issue. How many times can a student trap our focus area? 2, 3, 4, unlimited. Yes, it's unlimited. You can keep trying until you pass. Last question. If I get all my checkpoints done, I don't think anybody knows this. What is the minimum you can earn on the rubric? This is new this year. You did all your checkpoints by the due date.
But not any of the final.
But you didn't do the final thing, no. Alright.
I'm in very first place.
This is new this year. Every math teacher, this is building implemented. We figured to stop kids from, because right now they're like, why should I do the checkpoints? I'll do them later. If you do all the checkpoints, Graham, stop taking pictures, please. And turn the volume off. If you do all the checkpoints by the final assessment, the minimum you can get is a 2.5. It's like a safety net. Okay? I can't give you a 1. I can't give you a 2. I can give you a 2.5 even if you get every question wrong. The idea behind that is you've shown evidence by doing your checkpoints of at least a 2.5. So that's why. We're trying to give encouragement to the kids, or benefit for kids turning their work in on time. Close your computers, get back out your notes.
We know who got that. I got second. I'm in third. I'm in third place. I'm in 34th place.
Get results. Get results.
Guys, no, I was creating the teacher. I had like 15. Oh, and then I was creating green names when people were talking, and then and then every time I was a question, I figured out what the correct answer was, and I was understanding it. Guys, look. I was in 31st place. Your checkpoints were to find your mind. Yeah, I know. They don't work. I tried not to speak to them, but none of them would work.
Get the notes back down. I said move them to the side, so it shouldn't take that long to get them back down. Alright, example 1. We have 72 divided by -9. When good things happen to bad people, that is bad.
What about when bad people get cut?
How about, don't shout out, raise your hand. I'm in the middle of teaching. Is that appropriate to tell jokes? No. Okay. Positive divided by negative is going to be a negative, so we know it's negative. And then you just treat it like regular division. What is 72 divided by 9? Division can be shown a couple different ways. What if I changed it to this? Now the 72 is no longer positive, it's now negative. What is this going to equal? Eric? It's still negative 8 because it doesn't matter. If one of them's positive and the other one's negative, it's going to be a negative. Now, what if I did this off to the side? What if I changed it to somebody other than Eric? Nicole, what do you think? It's going to be positive 8 because now you have a negative divided by negative is positive. When bad things happen to bad people, that's good. We good? We good on this? You didn't write this down. You're in 6th grade, right? Why aren't you in 6th grade advance? You're in 7th grade. So you're already jumping. You're already jumping a grade level. Concerns me. You gotta show me. I can write for you. Just let me know. But like that means when you do transition, you gotta go faster because you know that you're slower at writing. You're not supposed to be the slow person at writing plus the last one you started. What? Can't hurt you. Nothing we take for free. Just to get a good idea. Do you want me to sit here and write for you? I can do that. All right. Moving on. Somebody tell me, what was the last example? It was what?
72 divided by positive 9.
What was example 2?
Oh no.
That was example 2. Example 2 is negative. No, it was over.
I know. Raise your hand if you have an answer. Alright. Negative times a negative will be a positive. 12 times 12 is 144. Did you get that, Graham? Alright. Try example 4. Negative 5 times negative 2 times negative 3. Wait, before you guys do this, why am I changing this to dots? Why am I using this dot now, Owen?
Because the X can get confusing when you're doing
Good, because a lot of times in algebra we use x's and y's. So like, if I said, what is 2 times x, and I go 2 times x, that looks confusing. So what they'll do is they'll say 2, and they'll put a dot for x, and then what they'll do after that, you might just see 2x. They might not even, they'll just smush them together like that. Because that means multiplying. Alright, so right now I'm still going to be using the dot. Alright, sit down. We have Jenna's gonna explain this one.
Right, I was like,
What? I see people on computers. I don't know why.
Okay. So, if you don't do that, then that would equal negative. I'm not gonna. That would equal 10.
Alright, step away for a second. So Jenna says if you think about it like this, you could do -5 times -2. Negative times negative is a positive 10. Alright, and then what are you going to do after that?
So then you're gonna times -3. And since you're not doing two negatives, it's gonna equal -3.
How's your autograph?
Oh,
saying that.
Alright, good. So now it becomes a positive times a negative is -30. Well, back when I used to grade a lot of tests, and a kid wouldn't know if it was positive or negative, so they would do this. They would go 30, and then they would circle their answer, and then they draw the circle purposely through it.
Oh, that's
Is it-
pretty smart.
Because then I would mark it wrong, and they go, well, how's this wrong? I go, the answer's negative. They go, I had negative, or I'll go, the answer is positive. They go, oh, it is positive. I just messed up my line. I'm like, you little life hack, get out of here. I will mark that wrong. Don't play with me. Next one.
That's the lazy man's way of doing it.
I love your autograph, sir.
No, it's not a good idea.
Smart. Because then we can say, oh, sorry. Yeah, Robert, just put a little line on my
No.
I was thinking like the swiggliest line ever, and you wouldn't be able to tell.
I remember
This just makes like the boldest circle ever.
Alright, this. What? Do you know what these mean?
Absolute value.
So this means absolute value. Let me do a little mini lesson over here in the corner. Absolute value is the distance from 0. So what is the absolute value of 7? Well, you come over here, you look at 7. 7 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 moves away from 0. So that means this is going to equal 7. No, I'm still teaching. Hold on. The absolute value of -22 equals how many moves away from 0? Moves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You would count. It would be 22. No.
Absolute value.
The distance away. Distance is always positive. How far away is it from home to school? 2 miles. What about distance from school to home? The distance is 2 miles. Always positive. You don't say negative. Yes. All right, Emma. What do you think? Yeah, you can come up.
So what I did is
When good things happen to bad people, that's bad, should be 12 times 12, which is 144, which would be -144, but because it's absolute value.
So actually write the absolute value of -144 below so they see it. Good. So the absolute value of -144
I forgot to sign it.
would actually equal +144. So if we want to think about our work going down, this is our answer. Good job. Just so you know, when you draw your absolute value, you kind of want it to be a little bigger than the numbers on top and bottom. It's almost like they're in jail, like looking behind bars. 'Cause what happens is if you make it look exactly the same height as like a 7, it'll look like 171. So you kind of want them to be, you want to be a little longer. All right. Try this one. Actually, I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna change this to positive 2. Hold on, I'll be there. I gotta get a water. Nothing but bills. 25% off on this website. I want free stuff. I want to pay for stuff. I just said that. Addison, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I put like
She owes you $24. They started a fantasy football.
She still owes me 18.
Ooh, owes 18. Now you're
So
my
they're
friend.
making bets. Let's gamble.
Alright, yes.
We would take notes of the topic in class. And like I would just use that page of notes, one or two pages of notes. The practice for math. Like this year, they decided to be like make us waste our time. So you have to take 3 like pages of notes. And then when you go to take the time, they always let you use 1. So you're just wasting your time. Yeah. So stupid.
No, it's not stupid.
Well, what's the point of writing the other 2?
The purpose of doing the 2 is because usually there's multiple, what do they call it? Like, objectives? Multiple objectives. So they want you to have at least 1 evidence, preferably 2. Now, on each. So, if you want to know a loophole, you can do 2 pieces of evidence, and you can use the 3rd piece of evidence as your front and back page. So, you can use that as your 3rd piece, if you think about it. Right? Moving on. What did you do first on this? Ben, what did you do first?
What did I do first?
Yeah.
Well, I got 2 times negative 12 was
2 times negative 12, what did I give you?
negative 22.
Negative 24 plus 6. Kennedy, what is negative 24 plus 6?
that would be negative 18.
Negative 18. Okay, we have about 7 minutes to start homework. Do all of them. What numbers are you supposed to do? All of them.
We want to be using calculators.
Did you take one for Sophie and Emma?
Yeah.
Calculators.
No, don't use calculator.